midway through the primaries, or actually towards the end of the primaries, I was in New York City, and the Republicans and Democrats held a simultaneous primary there. And so my goal was to sort of hang out with the Trump campaign, hang out with the Bernie campaign, hang out with Clinton and Cruz, who was still part of it. One evening I didn't have a lot on early in the evening, and I was scrolling through meetups about like the digital communications of the campaigns, and I landed upon this group that was working for Ted Cruz, who was having a meetup in a tech store in Chelsea. And I thought to myself, I'm going to go to this meetup. I'm going to check this out because I have nothing better to do. There's a Clinton event later. So I show up to this weird tech store, and they're like, oh yeah, the event's in the basement. Ted Cruz's digital team is going to be downstairs talking about how they made use of social media. I went downstairs, and it transpired that it actually wasn't Ted Cruz's digital team. It was a consultant that was working for Ted Cruz that was there, and there was like maybe 10 people in the audience. And the consultant's name was Cambridge Analytica. They were a firm that at the time no one really knew about, but that later went on to work for Trump and claimed that they could use psychographic marketing, so manipulation of people's psyche, with individual targeting to massively affect how people thought, felt, and reacted to the election. And basically what happened at this meeting was Cambridge Analytica opened up their playbook. They said, we use this particular model called the Ocean model to manipulate people on social media. We have a long background. Our parent company has worked for politicians and regimes around the world, including multiple authoritarian regimes, in an attempt to spread information, or a lack thereof, surrounding these pivotal events. And I was just flabbergasted. I was like, wow, like these people are really opening up the playbook. At that time, it was a foregone conclusion that Ted Cruz was pretty much out. He was going to be gone. This was Donald Trump's home turf, and he looked likely to win the Republican primary in New York State. And so I feel like at the time, Cambridge Analytica and their parent company had decided that they could be more open. Their chief data scientist was there, and like their head of marketing, and they just sort of like let us ask questions. And so I asked lots of questions like, so wait, you're telling me that you're doing like wholesale manipulation of publics online? And they're like, well, this is totally above the board. Like, you know, people might not quite know that we're the ones buying the advertisements or this and that, or that we're using automation to make these connections, or that we have data on over 230 million Americans. That's what they claimed at that meeting. We have data sets on over 230 million Americans that will allow us to manipulate them during this election. But this is all legit. It wasn't until like the summer when Cambridge Analytica went to work for Donald Trump that I realized, oh my gosh, like it's not necessarily that Cambridge Analytica is able to do what they said they could do, because I think a lot of what they said was marketing, but it was that the culture had gone to such a place that groups like Cambridge Analytica understood that they could make a lot of money by doing really underhanded things with political communication on social media. And that might have not been realized fully as psychographic marketing, individual targeting at that time, but you can bet that in 2018 and 2020 and around the world, that individual targeting is absolutely going to become a possibility.